Well, to discuss Mitt Romney's performance and his presidential prospects, I'm joined by Adam Lockyer. Dr. Lockyer is a lecturer in American politics at the University of Sydney's US Studies Centre. Adam Lockyer, thanks so much for your time this evening.
Good to see you.
Before we talk about Mitt Romney and how he went, Clint Eastwood's monologue to an empty chair as though he was performing Hamlet or something. What did you make of it, and what sort of lead-in was that for Mr. Romney?
It was completely bizarre. It was an incoherent ramble, and by the 15 minutes, it was a very long, stretched-out 15 minutes, the audience was completely confused about what the purpose of having Clint Eastwood up there was. It was completely bizarre.
Mitt Romney himself. Now, in the eyes of some in his own party, he's more the last man standing rather than the outstanding man in this process. How much do you think his speech may have dispelled doubts within his own party, let alone with the US voters?
I don't think that his speech achieved that. I mean, it was a well-crafted speech. It was competently delivered, though he failed to do two of key things. The first one was to paint a very different picture of America. So under Obama, a second term, America would look like this. Under a Romney administration, it would look something completely different. And I think he sort of fell down on that scorecard. And second of all, he failed to get into any real policy detail. So although it was well presented, it fell down in substance.
In regard to painting a difference, there was one moment. Let's have a listen to a short piece from Mitt Romney's speech where he compares his promise to that of his opponent. Let's have a quick listen.
President Obama promised to begin to slow the rise of the oceans. And to heal the planet. My promise is to help you and your family.
Mitt Romney there, and I'm speaking to Adam Lockyer here in the studio. Adam Lockyer, that's a pretty big, pretty vague promise there at the end. But at this time when the economy is suffering and folks are thinking of home, thinking, am I going to save my home? Am I going to keep my job? Am I going to find a job? That simple, home-focused message, how much will it cut through?
I don't think it will really cut through at all. It's kind of one of those statements which is all things to all people. I'm going to help your family. And without the details, I don't think it's really going to cut through, particularly to the undecided voter.
Now, in a piece you wrote for the Conversation website, you said, quote, "It has become clear that Mitt Romney does not intend on winning the presidency. He hopes President Barack Obama will lose it." Why do you say that?
And I think that became even clearer after his speech today. I think that over the summer he was really running on a not Obama platform. So if you're disenchanted with Obama, vote for me. And what we saw is a slide in the polls for Romney. This isn't working. So when he announced his VP, we thought that he was going to switch this around and actually stand for something. But what we saw today was back to old Romney, which is not Obama.
So are you saying there is not disenchantment, that as he painted it yet again today, that the excitement, the hope of 4 years ago, Mr. Romney says it's soured into disenchantment, disappointment. You're saying that is not the mood in the electorate?
No, I'm saying that right now it's neck and neck. So we could see a Romney victory, we could see an Obama victory, but Obama is pulling ahead. So whatever Romney is trying, it's not working.
In regard to the economy, as we were talking about before, and as Mr. Romney alluded to, now this guy's a successful businessman. He's a wealthy man. How much is that going to play for him? How could it play against him at this time when folks are worrying about their hip pocket and the economy and what it means for them? Yeah,
so Romney is a businessman, and most people are hired by businessmen. So that's what he's trying to play up on. He's trying to play up on, I come from a stock which are the job creators. And if you hire me as president, I can then get America back to work. The problem is that the Democrats are running on the other side of the coin, which is Romney looks exactly like the type of guy who fired you. And with 8.2% unemployment, that's probably fresher in their minds than the guy that hired them.
There wasn't much by way of foreign policy in the speech. There was mention of Iran, and interesting sort of a Cold War throwback, saying if we get in, we're going to be a lot tougher on Russian President Vladimir Putin. Will any of that wash? Do people care what's happening beyond their borders at the moment?
Not really. This is not an election that's going to be based on foreign policy. It's going to be based completely on the economy. And so when we did hear other countries mentioned, they were mostly directed towards portions of the electorate. So we heard mention of Cuba. That's obviously reaching out to the Latino vote in places like Florida, which is a swing state. When we mentioned Iran and Israel, this of course is appealing to the base and trying to look strong in protection of Israel and looking strong on foreign policy, and that also flowed into Russia as well. So this is just campaigneering.
His speech also contained a lot of personal history, anecdotes, filling in who this guy is, and he acknowledged himself, "You got to get to know me better." But at this point, given we're only 2 months away from the election, how much does that show a huge disadvantage if you're having to say to the American voter, "Oh, you've got to get to know me better"?
Well, this is the point in the election cycle where a lot of people start paying attention at the conventions. So up until now, normal people haven't really been paying that much attention. It's been summer break. So a lot of academics, journalists and political junkies have been paying very close attention, but normal people haven't. They've been on their summer break. And so at this point he's trying to introduce himself to the electorate, and in particular the undecided voter who's going to decide the election in November.
Let me put you on the spot in regard to that. I know you said it's going to be neck and neck.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the next president of the United States?
Right now, if you do the maths, it's Obama.
And that's what your heart tells you as well in regard to your experience and education?
No, from now, it's about the strategy becomes very simple. So both candidates are going to move away from their conventions, and they're going to do two things. The first thing, they're going to try and raise a lot of money. The second thing they're going to try and do is spend it in the swing states. It's a very simple campaign strategy. So who's going to decide the next president of the United States will be structural features. So if the economy is on the up, then Obama is going to be in a very strong position. If it tanks and it continues to tank, then Romney starts looking strong. But other things like foreign policy, if the Israelis decide to attack Iran, if things like this come up on the radar over the next 2 months, then anything can happen.
It's going to be an interesting 2 months.
It will be.
Adam Lockyer from the US Studies Centre at the Uni of Sydney, thanks so much for your time and perspective.